Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Find yourself a comfortable position right now. Maybe you're already lying down. Maybe you've pulled a blanket just a little closer. Maybe the room around you is soft and dim and exactly right. Wherever you are, you're welcome here. Take one slow breath in and let it out gently. There's nothing you need to do tonight except rest. We're going to spend some quiet time together exploring one of the most tender and mysterious things your mind does: dreaming. Not in a complicated scientific way, just softly, just gently. The way you'd describe clouds to someone lying in the grass beside you. Dreams have been with us for as long as humans have existed. Every person who has ever lived, every shepherd who watched stars from a hillside, every child who fell asleep beside a warm fire, every sailor rocking on a quiet sea, all of them dreamed. That's one of the first beautiful things to know. You are part of an unbroken thread of dreamers stretching back through time, all the way to the very first sleepy humans who closed their eyes and found another world waiting inside. Scientists who study sleep have a name for the part of the night when most dreaming happens. They call it REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. You can picture it softly. Your eyelids are still, your body is warm and relaxed, but beneath those closed lids, your eyes are moving gently, flickering back and forth, like someone watching fireflies drift across a summer evening. Something is happening in there, something quiet and busy and entirely your own. REM sleep doesn't arrive the moment you close your eyes. It comes in gently, like a tide. Usually it takes about 90 minutes of sleep before your first dream begins. So, those first heavy, falling moments of sleep, the ones where the world just melts away, those are your mind preparing, settling, making room for the stories to come. Throughout the night, REM periods return again and again, like soft waves on a shore. The first one might last only 10 minutes, but as the night deepens, the dreams grow longer. By early morning, just before you wake, a single dream can last almost an hour. That's why the dreams you remember most clearly are often the ones from just before sunrise, still warm in your mind, like bread fresh from an oven. Your brain during REM sleep is remarkably active, almost as active as when you're wide awake. Researchers discovered this and were genuinely surprised. They had expected a sleeping brain to be quiet, like a house, with all the lights off. Instead, they found something more like a house, where someone is moving softly from room to room, turning on one lamp, then another, leafing through old books, rearranging photographs on a shelf. One of the most comforting things about dreams is that almost every mammal seems to have them. Dogs dream. You may have watched a dog sleeping, its paws twitching, a soft murmur escaping its throat. It is almost certainly chasing something through a dream meadow or nuzzling someone it loves. Cats dream too, their whiskers trembling slightly, their paws folding and unfolding. Even rats in sleep research laboratories show the same brainwave patterns that humans show during dreams. Birds dream as well. Songbirds, while they sleep, show activity in the same parts of their brains they use when they sing. Scientists believe they are practicing their songs in their sleep, rehearsing melodies in the quiet dark, perfecting the notes they'll send into the morning air. There is something so tender about that. A small bird, tucked under its wing on a branch, singing silently to itself. The part of your brain most involved in dreaming is called the limbic system, a deep, ancient region concerned with feeling, memory, and emotion. During dreams, this part hums with gentle energy. The part responsible for logic and planning, meanwhile, quiets down considerably. This is why dreams can feel so real, so emotionally vivid, even when the things in them make very little logical sense. Your feeling brain is in charge, and it tells its stories in its own language, a language of images and sensations and moods. In dreams, you might find yourself in a house you've never visited, yet somehow you know exactly where the kitchen is. You might speak to someone who passed away long ago, and it feels entirely natural. You might fly, not dramatically, not with great effort, but just lift gently off the ground and drift above familiar streets. These are your feeling brain's ways of exploring things. It doesn't need logic. It has its own kind of sense. Researchers have found that dreams are often woven from the threads of your recent days. Something you saw, heard, or thought about will often appear in a dream within 1 to 2 nights, a phenomenon researchers call the dream lag effect. So, the afternoon light on a wall, the smell of coffee, a conversation that made you smile, all of it is gently gathered and rearranged as you sleep, worked into something new. But there is also a longer cycle. Events from about a week before, particularly meaningful ones, tend to reappear as well. Your sleeping mind is not a passive recorder. It is more like a very patient, very gentle editor, reviewing footage, deciding what matters, tucking things carefully into the right drawers of memory. One quiet theory about why we dream is that sleep, especially dream sleep, helps us process emotions. Something that felt sharp or unresolved during the day can seem softer by morning. Not because the dream solved anything exactly, but because the mind had a chance to sit quietly with the feeling, the way you might sit by a window with a cup of tea, not trying to fix anything, just letting things settle. Water appears in dreams more often than almost any other element. Lakes, oceans, rivers, rain. Water is one of the most universal dream symbols across cultures and throughout history. Perhaps because water, like dreaming itself, is fluid and shifting and always moving toward something. There's comfort in that. Even in the landscape of your sleeping mind, nature finds its way in. And here is one last soft thought for this opening passage. The average person, over the course of a lifetime, will spend about 6 full years dreaming. 6 years of stories, of invented landscapes, of reunions with people you love, of flying above quiet towns and walking through forests that exist only in the gentle folds of your sleeping mind. 6 years of your own private cinema running softly in the dark. Isn't that a wonderful thing to carry with you into sleep tonight? If you're feeling comfortable and peaceful right now, it would mean so much if you left a little comment below, just to say hello or share where you're listening from. And if you haven't already, a like on the video helps this channel reach more people who need a quiet place to rest. Now, let's go a little deeper. The night is still around you. Let your shoulders drop just a little more. There's no hurry here, only the slow, easy drift of words and ideas, soft as falling snow. One of the most fascinating things about dreaming is how universal the experience is, and yet how deeply personal. Two people can sleep side by side in the same room, breathing the same cool air, and each travel to an entirely different world. Your dreams are yours alone, a country with no maps, no borders, and no visiting hours. Scientists have wondered for a very long time about why we dream at all. One of the most widely held ideas is that dreaming plays a role in memory consolidation, a gentle musical phrase that simply means your brain uses sleep to decide what to keep. During the day, your mind takes in an enormous amount of information. Some of it matters deeply. Some of it was just the color of a passing car or the sound of someone's laugh in a distant room. Sleep, and dreaming in particular, help sort through all of it with quiet efficiency. Imagine your waking mind as a vast beach after a long day of tides, covered with shells and stones and tangles of seaweed, all the small deposits of experience. Dreaming is like the gentle work of the morning tide, smoothing things over, carrying some things out to sea, arranging others more neatly along the shore. By morning, the beach is clear again, ready for another day. Studies have shown that people who are allowed to sleep and to dream after learning something new perform significantly better when tested afterward than people who stayed awake. The sleep did something. The dreams, perhaps, did something too. Like a gardener who tends things quietly after dark, your dreaming mind strengthens the roots of what you've learned. There's a particular kind of memory that dreaming seems especially good at nurturing. Emotional memory. Not just the facts of what happened, but the feeling of it. How something made you feel warm or joyful or moved. Dream sleep appears to help store these feelings with more nuance and texture. The way a musician plays a melody more beautifully the 100th time than the first. The hippocampus, the part of your brain shaped a little like a seahorse, nestled deep in its warm ocean of tissue, is heavily involved in memory during sleep. During certain stages of the night, it replays the experiences of the day in compressed, rapid sequences, like a film on fast forward. Then, during REM sleep, it seems to integrate these replays into the larger library of everything you know, finding the right shelf, the right chapter. There is something called the overnight therapy hypothesis, the idea that REM sleep and dreaming help strip the emotional charge from difficult memories. During dream sleep, the brain chemical associated with stress, norepinephrine, drops to its lowest level of the entire 24-hour cycle. This means your brain can revisit an emotionally loaded memory in a calmer chemical environment. It can turn the experience over gently, like examining a stone underwater where all the sharp edges are softened. Many people have had the experience of going to sleep troubled by something, a disagreement, a worry, an unresolved feeling, and waking to find it less heavy, not gone, not solved, but lighter. As if someone had come quietly in the night and sanded the roughest edges smooth. That someone was you, your dreaming self, doing its tender, patient work. Across nearly every human culture on Earth, dreams have been treated with great reverence. In ancient Egypt, temples were built specifically for the purpose of sleeping inside them, hoping to receive meaningful dreams. Priests were trained as dream interpreters, and their work was considered as important as medicine or architecture. The Egyptians believed that God spoke through dreams, that the sleeping mind was a kind of open window through which the world beyond ordinary life could pass. In ancient Greece, people would travel great distances to sleep at the sanctuary of Asclepius, the god of healing, hoping that a dream would reveal the cure for their illness. They would bathe, observe rituals of purification, then lie down in a special hall. Many reported vivid dreams afterward, and many, apparently, woke feeling better. Whether the healing came from the dreaming or the rest, or simply the peace of being in a beautiful, sacred place by a quiet spring, no one can say for certain. Perhaps all three. The ancient Chinese perspective on dreaming was equally warm. They believed that during sleep, the soul, called the Hun, could wander free of the body, traveling to other places, speaking with ancestors, exploring the world beyond ordinary perception. Dreams, in this understanding, were not imagination, but actual journeys. They were taken seriously, recorded carefully, consulted like maps. Indigenous cultures across North and South America have long traditions of dream guidance, using dreams to help make decisions, to seek healing, to connect with the natural world in ways that waking life doesn't always allow. Dreams were not separate from life. They were part of it, woven in the way that water is woven into land, sometimes visible, sometimes beneath the surface, but always present. Even now, in our modern, illuminated world, with all its data and science and sleek devices, dreams retain this quality of mystery. Researchers can measure brain waves and map neural pathways and identify which parts of the brain are glowing with activity. But they cannot tell you why you dreamed of a blue door last Tuesday, or why your grandmother appeared in a garden you've never visited, or why the dream about flying always feels like coming home. Some things keep their softness. The average person has between 3 and 6 dreams per night, though most are forgotten almost immediately upon waking. Sleep researchers think we may actually dream during non-REM sleep as well. Not the vivid, story-like dreams of REM, but something quieter, more like impressions, like the first faint light before sunrise, barely there, just the suggestion of something luminous waiting. Do check out the playlist for this channel if you'd like more nights like this one. There are stories about forests and oceans and stars and rain, all waiting for you whenever you need a quiet place to land. And now, gently, let's continue. You're doing so well. Your breath is slower now, isn't it? The room feels softer. Let everything outside this moment stay outside. There is only the gentle movement of these ideas, floating past like leaves on a still river. One of the most delightful things scientists have discovered about dreaming is that it may play a role in creativity, not in an abstract or theoretical way, but in a genuinely practical, beautiful way. Your dreaming mind makes connections that your waking mind might never reach. It moves laterally, associatively, combining things from different rooms of your memory without asking permission, without following the usual pathways. Thomas Edison, who was fascinated by the borderland between sleeping and waking, used to nap in a chair holding steel balls in his hands. As he drifted toward sleep, the balls would fall, clattering onto a metal pan, waking him just at the threshold, just at the moment when waking thought and dream thought were still intertwined. He believed this hypnagogic state, as it's called, was unusually fertile for new ideas. Whether or not it worked for him, the instinct is scientifically sound. That liminal place between sleep and waking really is different. Something loosens. Connections form more freely. The hypnagogic state, that soft, dissolving moment, just as you're falling asleep, is its own kind of dreaming. You might see images that have nothing to do with your day. Geometric shapes, landscapes, faces of strangers, swirls of color. Your hearing changes too. Sounds from the room take on new meaning or seem to come from a great distance. A car passing outside might sound, for a moment, like the sea. This gentle dissolution is your brain loosening its grip on the waking world, one finger at a time. Salvador Dali, the painter, also used the falling asleep trick, reportedly holding a key over a plate, letting it fall the moment sleep arrived, and then immediately sketching whatever images had passed through his mind. His paintings, with their melting clocks and impossible landscapes, are in some ways portraits of that threshold state. The world, just at the moment, it becomes something else. Dmitri Mendeleev, who created the periodic table of elements, reportedly saw the arrangement of elements in a dream. The whole pattern laid out before him with a clarity that waking thought had not yet achieved. Paul McCartney has said that the melody for yesterday came to him fully formed in a dream. Researchers studying creativity consistently find that sleep, and particularly REM sleep, enhances the ability to see new patterns, solve problems in unexpected ways, and make leaps of association that linear thinking resists. This isn't magic, it's biology. During REM sleep, the brain releases a flood of acetylcholine, a chemical that promotes the formation of unusual connections between neurons. Think of it as the brain's way of relaxing its own filing system, letting folders fall open, letting contents mix a little. Sometimes something wonderful results. Problem solving during sleep is a well-documented phenomenon. In studies, people given difficult puzzles to work on were significantly more likely to find the hidden solution after a full night of sleep than if they simply stayed awake and kept working. The rest, the dreaming, did something that effort alone could not. There are some problems that can only be solved by letting go of them for a while. In one particularly lovely study, researchers found that people who took a nap that included REM sleep were better at solving word association problems involving a subtle, indirect link between words, the kind of connection your mind can only find when it stops looking directly and lets the answer come sideways, like finding a star in the night sky. Sometimes it's easier when you look just slightly away from it. Your dreaming mind doesn't just solve problems, it sometimes anticipates them. There's a quiet body of research suggesting that people under stress or facing major life transitions dream more frequently, and often about the very challenges they're navigating, not in obvious ways. The mind is more subtle than that. It rarely presents your problem as itself. Instead, it gives you something analogous, a metaphor, a symbol, a story that rhymes with the real thing. And in exploring that dream story, something in you understands a little more. This is why keeping a dream journal, just a small notebook by the bed, a few words scrawled in the dark, can sometimes reveal surprising things. Not because dreams are literal messages, but because they're your own inner life, translated into imagery. Reading them back, you sometimes find a clarity you didn't know you had. Water, we said earlier, appears often in dreams, but nature in general is extraordinarily common in dream imagery across all cultures. Forests, mountains, storms, open fields, the sea. Researchers think this may be because our brains evolved in intimate relationship with the natural world. Long before cities or screens, the landscape was everything. When the mind turns inward at night, it returns, perhaps instinctively, to these ancient reference points. Dreaming of a forest may simply be the mind coming home. Animals appear in dreams with remarkable frequency as well. In studies of dream content, animals show up in roughly a third of all reported dreams. Wild animals more often than domestic ones. Lions and deer and birds, rivers full of fish, open skies with circling hawks. Some researchers think these images carry particular emotional weight because of our long evolutionary relationship with other species, as companions, as sources of wonder, as the living fabric of the world we once moved through every day. Children dream about animals even more than adults do. A young child's dreams are full of wildlife, perhaps because the world is still new and astonishing, and creatures carry a particular magic. As we grow older, people begin to appear more frequently in our dreams. The landscape shifts gradually from wild to social, from forest to room. But the animals never fully disappear. There's something soothing in that. Somewhere in the dreaming mind, a child is still running through tall grass, watching birds. The natural world never quite releases its hold on us, not even in sleep. Hello, sweet dreamer. If these stories are helping you relax, it would be lovely if you dropped a like on the video. It's such a small gesture, but it genuinely helps this channel grow. Now, settle a little deeper and we'll keep going. The quiet around you is real. You've been letting it in gradually, and now it's settled, soft as morning fog over a still lake. Stay here with me for a little while longer. One of the most tender things about dreams is the way they handle time. In a dream, time is nothing like it is in waking life. Years can pass in what feels like a single scene. You can be a child and an adult at once. A moment can stretch endlessly, full of detail and sensation, and yet the whole dream took only minutes in clock time. The sleeping brain has its own clock, and it runs on feeling rather than minutes. This is partly because the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that tracks time, plans ahead, and asks sensible questions like, wait, how did I get here?, is much less active during REM sleep. Without it, there is no timeline to follow. The mind moves freely through past and present and imagined futures, not because it's confused, but because for a little while it doesn't need the scaffolding of linear time. It can just be in a moment, fully. The way you might be fully in the scent of rain or the warmth of sunlight on your face without wondering what comes next. There's a phenomenon called time distortion in dreams that researchers find genuinely interesting. In most dreams, the subjective sense of time roughly matches real elapsed time. A dream that felt like an hour probably did take about an hour of REM sleep. But in some dreams, particularly vivid or emotionally significant ones, time seems to compress or expand dramatically. A dream can feel like an entire life lived. Lucid dreaming, the experience of knowing you're dreaming while the dream is still happening, is one of the most quietly astonishing things the human mind can do. Roughly half of all people have had at least one lucid dream in their lifetime. In a lucid dream, you become aware from inside the dream itself that you are dreaming. The world around you is still vivid, still textured and real feeling, but now you know it as a dream. Sometimes this knowledge dissolves the dream immediately, like touching a soap bubble. Other times, the dream holds, and you find yourself in a world that is entirely your own creation, knowing it as such. People who practice lucid dreaming describe it as one of the most extraordinary experiences available to a human being, a completely private world in which the usual laws of physics and reality are optional suggestions. You can fly, you can speak to dream people, and have actual conversations. You can walk through walls, change the color of the sky, conjure a forest where there was a hallway. It is, in every sense, a form of inner travel. Researchers have been able to communicate with lucid dreamers while they sleep. In a remarkable series of studies, participants agreed in advance on a signal, a specific pattern of eye movements they would make when they became lucid in a dream. In the laboratory, while fast asleep and dreaming, some participants were able to move their eyes in the agreed pattern, respond to simple math questions conveyed by the researchers, and signal back their answers, all without waking up. a conversation conducted across the border between sleeping and waking through the language of eye movements in a dream. That is genuinely wonderful. The world's record for the longest documented lucid dream is somewhere around 45 minutes of continuous lucid experience. But most last only a few minutes before the realization of dreaming either wakes the dreamer or the dream shifts into something else. It's a delicate state, like cupping water in your hands. The more tightly you try to hold it, the more quickly it slips away. Some people find that keeping a dream journal gradually increases their ability to remember dreams and eventually to recognize when they're inside one. The practice is gentle and patient, like learning to hear birdsong in a city. At first you don't notice. Then, one day, you realize you've been hearing it all along. Nightmares, when they visit, are a natural part of the dreaming spectrum, though we won't dwell here. What's worth knowing softly is that most sleep researchers consider even nightmares to be a part of the brain's healthy emotional processing. They tend to cluster around times of stress or change, and for many people, they diminish naturally as the stressful period passes. The mind is working something through. It does this work the only way it knows how, in stories. And those stories take place in a geography entirely of your mind's making. Dream landscapes, the rooms, the streets, the fields, the impossible staircases and windows opening onto skies that can't exist, are assembled by your brain from fragments of real places you've known, real architecture you've moved through, real light you've stood in. Every dream house contains pieces of real houses. Every dream forest grew in part from real trees you once stood beneath. Some researchers believe the visual processing center of the brain, the occipital lobe, is responsible for much of the imagery in dreams, generating visual scenes in the absence of any external light, purely from memory and imagination. When you dream of a meadow, your brain's visual centers activate almost as fully as they would if you were actually standing in one. Your dreaming mind takes your eyes seriously. It gives them something beautiful to see. There is a quietness to all of this that I find so comforting. The idea that while your body rests, completely still, warm under blankets, breathing slowly in a dark room, your mind is building whole worlds, mountains and rivers, conversations with beloved people, skies of impossible color, not from nothing, but from everything you've ever loved. Every dream is, in some sense, made of your life. If you're listening to this as part of your bedtime routine, welcome. This is a good place to be. Do check out the playlist when you get a chance. There are many other slow, peaceful stories waiting there for you. And now, gently, we continue. Your eyes may be feeling heavier now. That's good. Let them. There's no need to fight that soft weight. You can keep listening even as you drift. Your mind will carry what it needs. Dreams change across a lifetime in ways that are slow and lovely, like the way a river changes as it moves from mountains to sea. Children's dreams are different from adults' dreams. Elderly dreamers dream differently still, the dreaming mind grows and shifts alongside the person it belongs to. Very young infants spend enormous amounts of time in REM sleep, sometimes up to half of all their sleep time. Newborns sleep a great deal, and a great deal of that sleep is REM sleep. What are they dreaming? No one knows with certainty. They don't yet have language or a large store of visual memories or complex emotional experiences to process. But their brains are growing at an astonishing rate, building new connections by the millions every day. Many researchers believe that infant REM sleep is less about dreaming in the story-like sense and more about building and organizing the brain itself. That the rapid eye movement, the active sleeping brain, is part of the architecture work. In this sense, dreaming might have existed in us before we had anything to dream about. The machinery came first, and the stories came later. As children grow and begin to form clear memories, around age 3 or 4, their dreams begin to take on more recognizable shapes. Early childhood dreams tend to be relatively static, like photographs rather than films. A single image or a simple scene, not much narrative movement. Animals often appear, familiar places. There is very little self in these early dreams. The dreaming child often watches events as an observer rather than a participant. By middle childhood, around ages 7 or 8, the dreamer begins to appear in their own dreams. Stories develop, sequences of events unfold. The social world enters, friends, family, school. The dreams become recognizable as dreams in the way adults experience them. Adolescence brings with it a shift in dream content. Social themes become more prominent. Dreams about peers, about belonging, about identity, about the future. The emotional intensity of dreams often increases during adolescence, perhaps because the emotional landscape of being a teenager is itself so vivid and alive. The sleeping mind responds in kind. Adult dreams across the middle years of life tend to carry more of the particular texture of that life. The specific rooms, the specific people, the specific worries and joys of a life being actively lived. There's a kind of richness to adult dreaming. The library of memories is large. The associations are deep and layered. In later life, some changes occur that are gentle and interesting. REM sleep tends to decrease a little with age. Some older adults report that their dreams become less vivid or that they remember them less often. Others report the opposite, that dreams in later life feel more meaningful, more emotionally resonant. Many older people dream frequently of their youth, of people and places from decades past, with a clarity and warmth that feels like a gift. Across all these stages, certain themes persist: flying, falling, being chased. Not frightening here, just common. Finding a room in a house you didn't know was there. Being late for something. Water. Open skies. These recurring themes show up across age groups and cultures and centuries, suggesting they're connected to something deep and shared in human experience. The falling dream, that sudden jolt just as you're dropping off to sleep, has a specific name, a hypnic jerk. And it's not technically a dream, but a muscle twitch that occurs as your body shifts from waking to sleeping. Some researchers believe it happens because the brain, startled by the sudden relaxation of the body, sends a brief alarm signal, a muscle contraction to check that everything is okay. Others think it may be an evolutionary remnant, a reflex from our tree-dwelling ancestors whose bodies would twitch awake if they began to fall asleep in the branches. Either way, it's entirely harmless. Just your body practicing the art of letting go. Color in dreams is more common than most people realize. In surveys, most people report dreaming primarily in color, though the colors are often muted or unusual, less sharp than waking vision, more like the colors of dusk than of midday. Interestingly, people who grew up watching black and white television tend to report more black and white dreams than those who grew up with color TV. The dreaming brain uses what it knows. Smell in dreams is rarer than you might expect. Vision and hearing dominate. Touch is fairly common, the sensation of water, warmth, texture. But smell, despite being one of the most powerful sense memory triggers in waking life, appears infrequently in dreams. When it does occur, dreamers often describe it as unusually vivid, unusually real, as if the rare appearance of a scent in a dream gives it a particular intensity. There's something lovely about the idea that your dreaming mind chooses vision over smell, that it is, at its heart, a maker of images, a painter working through the night on a canvas no one else will ever see. Rest here for a moment. Let that image settle. A painter in the dark, making something beautiful, just for you. The world outside is dark and still. Somewhere, a light is on in a distant window. Somewhere, rain is beginning to fall softly on a roof. And here you are, warm and held by the quiet, drifting through the night on gentle words. One of the softest and most reassuring things about dreaming is this: the brain, during REM sleep, temporarily paralyzes the muscles of the body, not in a frightening way, in a kind way, in a protective way. This natural paralysis is called REM atonia, and it exists so that as your dreaming mind experiences running through a field or swimming in a clear lake, your body doesn't actually try to follow along. You stay safely still, tucked in your bed, while your mind roams freely. Think of it like the way a ship is anchored in a harbor. The water moves, the wind moves, the vessel rocks gently with the life of the sea, but it doesn't drift away. Your body is the ship, REM sleep is the anchor, and the dream is the wide, open water all around. The brainstem sends the signal for this muscle paralysis, a small, deep structure doing the quiet work of keeping you safe each night, every night, reliably and without thanks. The muscles of your eyes and your breathing are the exceptions. They remain active. Your heart continues, your lungs continue. The essential work of the body never stops, even as its dreaming passenger travels far. Very occasionally, this system shows its edges in interesting ways. Sleep paralysis, the brief experience of waking while the muscle atonia of REM sleep is still in place, is estimated to happen to about 8% of people at least once in their lives. You wake, but cannot immediately move. For a few seconds, or perhaps a minute, the body is still held in its dreaming stillness. Then the signal updates, the muscles release, and movement returns. It is disorienting in the moment, but harmless and brief. Across history, sleep paralysis experiences were interpreted through the lens of the supernatural, as visitations, as presences in the room, as the weight of something sitting on the chest. Almost every culture has its own name for this night visitor. The old hag in English folklore, the Kanashibari in Japanese tradition, the Mora in Slavic mythology. The same biological event seen through many different imaginative frameworks. A reminder that the human mind has always been trying to make sense of its own mysteries. There's a gentle humor in the fact that across thousands of years and hundreds of cultures, the explanation most people settled on for this harmless quirk of neurology was a supernatural creature briefly visiting in the night. The truth? That your brain's paralysis system occasionally lags a few seconds behind your waking consciousness is less poetic, perhaps, but in its own way, just as remarkable. The sleeping brain also generates something called sleep spindles, brief bursts of oscillating electrical activity that occur during the lighter stages of sleep, before and between REM cycles. They look like little waves on a brain scan, neat and rhythmic, like the gentle lapping of water against a dock. Sleep spindles are associated with memory consolidation and may help protect sleep by dampening the brain's response to minor external noises, helping you stay asleep through a world that doesn't fully quiet down. The more sleep spindles a person generates during a night, the better they tend to perform on memory tests the next day. In a way, sleep spindles are the brain's way of locking doors, making sure the night's learning is stored carefully before morning comes. During deep, slow-wave sleep, the dreamless stages that come earlier in the night, your brain produces large, slow waves of electrical activity called delta waves. These are the deepest, most restorative waves of the sleeping brain. The body repairs itself most during this time. Growth hormone is released. The immune system does some of its most important work. Memories are being initially encoded, sorted, sent upstairs for further review. Deep sleep is the foundation. REM sleep, dreaming sleep, is the architecture built on top of it. Both are essential. A night of good sleep needs both the deep stillness and the dreaming aliveness, the way a good day needs both work and wondering. Scientists have discovered that the brain, during sleep, flushes itself with cerebrospinal fluid in a way that doesn't happen when you're awake. This fluid flows through the spaces between cells, washing away waste products that accumulate during the day's mental activity, including proteins that, if left to build up, can cause problems over time. Sleep, in this sense, is a kind of nightly internal tide, washing through, cleaning quietly, keeping things clear. This discovery, made relatively recently in 2013 by a neuroscientist named Micah Nedergaard, changed how scientists think about what sleep is fundamentally for. Perhaps one of its core purposes is simply cleanliness, maintenance. the gentle, essential work of tending to the mind from within every single night, as naturally as breathing. Dreaming, then, takes place inside a brain that is simultaneously repairing, consolidating, cleaning, and creating. A brain doing the quiet, important work of being alive. And through all of this work, these stories rise, these images and feelings and landscapes, like steam rising from warm ground on a cold morning, a natural byproduct of a mind taking care of itself. If you're enjoying this journey, a like on the video is always so appreciated. It's a small way of saying you were here, and there's a whole playlist waiting for you whenever you want another night like this one. Now, let's drift a little further. Settle in. Your body knows this. The long exhale, the small release of everything you were holding. The night is good at receiving whatever you lay down in it. Across cultures, people have always tried to understand their dreams, and one thread that runs through nearly every tradition is the idea that dreams speak in symbols, not literally, but metaphorically. A dream about water might not be about water at all. A dream about a house might be about the self. A dream about losing teeth, one of the most universally reported dreams in the world, might have nothing to do with teeth. The teeth falling out dream is reported so commonly across so many different countries and cultures that it has become something of a landmark in dream research. In surveys conducted in the United States, in Germany, in Japan, in Brazil, people from entirely different backgrounds, speaking different languages, eating different foods, living entirely different lives, report the same dream. Their teeth are crumbling or loosening or simply falling away. The specific interpretation varies widely, but the image is shared. Something in the sleeping mind, looking for a way to express a certain feeling, reaches for the same symbol again and again across the whole human family. Some of the most studied recurring dreams include being unable to run despite desperately trying, discovering a forgotten room in a familiar house, taking an exam you haven't studied for, arriving late to something important, and flying. These themes don't appear in everyone's dreams, but they're common enough to suggest they're tapping into experiences and anxieties that are broadly human. The fear of being unprepared, the wonder of freedom, the feeling that there is something still unexplored in what you thought you knew. The forgotten room dream is one of the most beautiful, I think. You're in a house, maybe your own, or maybe a version of somewhere you've lived, and you find a door or a staircase or an archway you've never noticed before, and beyond it, more rooms, perhaps an entire wing of the house you never knew existed. The feeling is often one of quiet joy and wonder. Something was there all along. Something was waiting to be found. Psychologists have many interpretations for this dream, but even without any interpretation at all, there is something lovely about it. The idea that the mind in sleep imagines hidden abundance, that somewhere inside the familiar there is always more space, more possibility, more rooms that open onto more light. Flying dreams are reported by a majority of people, and they are, by nearly all accounts, wonderful. The sensation in a flying dream is described not usually as dramatic or fast, but as buoyant, light, effortless, serene, like breathing out and simply rising, like the feeling of warm water lifting you, like being relieved of a weight you didn't know you were carrying. Falling dreams, the sudden sensation of dropping, usually when just at the edge of sleep, are different from dreams of flight, though they share that quality of letting go of solid ground. Falling and flying are two ways of relating to the same absence of support. One is chosen, one happens to you. In dreams, both are available. Water dreams, as we've mentioned, are extraordinarily common, and within water dreams, the variety is enormous. Calm lakes, ocean depths, rain falling on a roof, rivers, flooded streets, swimming in warm, clear water, standing at the shore. Research suggests that the emotional tone of the water in a dream tends to mirror the emotional state of the dreamer. Calm water when things feel peaceful. Turbulent water when the mind is wrestling with something. The landscape of the dream reflects the weather of the feeling. Mountains appear in dreams with great frequency. Standing at the base of a mountain, or climbing one, or looking down from a peak. These images are reported across cultures and throughout history. Mountains in dreams have been interpreted as challenges, as goals, as the presence of something great, as the feeling of perspective. Looking down from a high place in a dream is often described as one of the most peaceful dream experiences. The world small and quiet below, the air clear, the sense of having arrived somewhere true. Forests in dreams tend to feel different from how they feel in waking life. A forest in a dream is rarely just trees. It has a particular quality of interiority, the sense of being inside something alive, surrounded by green, breathing quiet. Dreams of walking through a forest, researchers have noted, are often associated with periods of inner exploration, of going deeper into something, of following a path that isn't fully visible, but is somehow trustworthy. Stars appear in dreams, though less commonly than earthly landscapes. When they do, dreamers often describe an unusual quality of clarity, as if the dream sky is more vivid, more deeply dark, and the stars more numerous and bright than any real night sky they've seen. A whole private sky made of something remembered and something imagined, burning softly above the dream. The moon appears often in dream imagery across traditions, full, silver, enormous on the horizon, or reflected in still water. The moon in a dream carries a quality that's difficult to name exactly, something about time and cycles, and the way light can come from a thing that doesn't itself burn. The reflected light, the borrowed glow, it's a beautiful thing for the mind to offer itself at night. You've come a long way tonight, not traveled, arrived. Deeper into the quiet, deeper into the soft knowing that the night is entirely safe and you are entirely held. Let your thoughts slow like water in a widening river. Dreams have inspired an astonishing amount of human creativity. Not just the famous examples, Mendeleev's table, McCartney's melody, but across art and literature and music and science, the dreaming mind has offered up images and ideas that the waking mind then brought into the world. The history of human creativity is, in part, a history of what we found in the dark. Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein at the age of 18, traced the central image of her novel to a waking dream, a vision that came to her in the hypnagogic state between sleeping and waking, a half-dream of startling vividness that she simply wrote down. She said afterward that she hadn't invented the story so much as remembered it. Robert Louis Stevenson, the author of Treasure Island and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, spoke of his dreams as collaborators, little people who appeared while he slept and acted out stories for him to record in the morning. He called them his brownies, and he was genuinely grateful to them. The German chemist August Kekulé discovered the ring structure of benzene, one of the most important discoveries in organic chemistry, after a dream in which a snake was eating its own tail. The Ouroboros, an ancient symbol, offered itself to a sleeping scientist and changed the direction of chemistry. The dreaming mind found in the ancient archive of human imagery exactly the shape that the waking mind had been unable to reach. Keith Richards woke one morning to find his cassette recorder had captured a guitar riff he'd apparently played in his sleep. Then went back to bed, the tape running on. The riff became Satisfaction. A dream, or the edge of one, gave the world one of its most recognizable songs. These stories are special not because they're unique, but because they're documented, famous enough to be recorded. The truth is that this kind of thing happens constantly, quietly, in lives that never make headlines. A solution occurring in a dream. A line of poetry arriving at the moment of waking. A color, an image, a feeling that becomes a painting or a recipe or a garden design, or simply a day lived a little differently because of what the night left behind. Your dreaming mind is a creative collaborator too. Even if you never remember your dreams, they are there, working, connecting, offering. Sometimes the best thought of your day began in a dream you've already forgotten. Researcher Deirdre Barrett has studied what she calls the committee of sleep, the way the sleeping brain can solve problems presented to it before bedtime. In her research, people were asked to think about a specific problem before sleeping, to write it down, to hold it in mind as they drifted off. A remarkable number of them reported useful insights in dreams, or in the moments just after waking, or simply found themselves thinking more clearly about the problem after a night of sleep that included this deliberate incubation. The mind takes requests. This practice, deliberate dream incubation, is ancient. The Greeks did it in their healing temples. Indigenous cultures around the world have traditions of intentional dreaming, of seeking specific guidance through sleep. The modern scientific confirmation of this practice connects a thread that runs back thousands of years. People at every point in human history discovering again and again that the sleeping mind is available and generous and worth asking. You can try it yourself in a gentle way. Simply hold a question in your mind as you're falling asleep tonight. Not desperately, not demandingly, just softly. A question about your life, or a creative challenge, or simply, what do I need to know right now? Then let it go. Trust that something in you is working on it. Trust the night. Dreams also appear to play a role in social and emotional learning, in the ongoing project of understanding other people. Researchers have found that REM sleep specifically enhances the ability to read emotional expressions on faces, to understand subtle social cues, to respond with empathy. People who are deprived of dream sleep become, measurably, less accurate at reading the emotional states of others. The dreaming mind, it seems, helps keep your emotional intelligence calibrated and clear. There is one study I find particularly beautiful. Researchers found that after a full night of sleep with abundant REM, people were more likely to describe strangers' faces as trustworthy. Sleep didn't make them naive. It made them open, less defended, more willing to see the good in an unknown person. What a gentle gift to drift toward greater trust. A liked video and a kind comment mean everything to a small, quiet channel like this one. So, if you're here and you're feeling peaceful, please do let us know. It truly helps. And now, breathe. We're going further. The night is at its deepest now, or perhaps it's tipping slowly toward morning. Either way, you're here, and here is good. The light that will come gently. For now, there is only this, the soft telling of quiet things. People have been trying to interpret dreams since long before written history, but some of the oldest written records of dream interpretation come from ancient Mesopotamia, from Sumer and Babylon, from civilizations that arose between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, in a landscape of reed marshes and wide, slow water and enormous skies full of stars. The Assyrian king Ashurbanipal kept a vast library, one of the ancient world's greatest, and among its clay tablets were dream books, collections of recorded dreams with their interpretations, cataloged like a kind of sleeping almanac. If the king dreamed of a white horse, it meant one thing. If he dreamed of water rising, it meant another. The interpretations were worked out over generations, tested and revised and refined. Dream reading was a serious intellectual practice, worthy of the same attention as astronomy or mathematics. The ancient Egyptians had a text called the Book of Dreams, or more precisely, a dream interpretation manual that dates back more than 3,000 years. In it, dreams are organized into categories: good omens and bad ones, agricultural images, natural phenomena. Dreaming of beer meant one thing. Dreaming of the moon meant another. The sun, water, grain, animals. All carried meanings. All were signs to be read. In ancient India, the Vedic tradition included sophisticated theories of dreaming that would feel surprisingly modern to a neuroscientist. Dream life was understood as a distinct state of consciousness, neither fully waking nor fully deep sleep, but a third thing with its own reality and its own rules. The Upanishads, which are ancient philosophical texts of extraordinary depth and beauty, discuss dreaming as a state in which the mind creates its own world, where the dreamer is simultaneously the creator and the experiencer of everything perceived, a complete universe made of consciousness experienced from within. This idea that the dream is entirely self-generated, that the dreamer is both the author and the character, is one that modern neuroscience fully endorses. You make the dream. You inhabit the dream. You are every person in it in some sense. Every voice, every face, every landscape arose from something within you. The dreaming mind is the most radical form of imagination, a world created in real time, experienced as real from the inside. Sigmund Freud, the Viennese physician who published The Interpretation of Dreams in 1899, brought dreams into the modern intellectual world with enormous fanfare. His theories were sweeping and dramatic. Dreams as disguised messages from the unconscious, full of repressed material working its way toward the surface. His specific interpretations have been largely revised or rejected by modern science, but his central insistence that dreams are meaningful, that they connect to the interior life of the dreamer, that they deserve serious attention, that part has held. Carl Jung, who was Freud's student before developing his own vast body of thought, had a warmer and more expansive view of dream life. For Jung, dreams were not primarily about repression or hidden desires, but about the mind's constant creative effort toward wholeness, toward integrating all the different parts of the self into something coherent and alive. Dreams, in Jung's view, were conversations between the conscious and the unconscious, an ongoing and necessary dialogue. Jung believed in what he called the collective unconscious, a deep layer of shared human imagery and theme that underlies the personal unconscious of each individual. It was this collective layer, he thought, that gave rise to the universal themes of dreaming: the flying, the falling, the house with unknown rooms, the mountain, the water. Not personal memories, but something deeper, the accumulated symbolic inheritance of the entire human species, available to each dreamer in sleep. Whether or not you find Jung's framework compelling, there is something in it that resonates with the sheer consistency of human dream imagery across cultures. The same symbols, the same landscapes, the same emotional architecture appearing in dreams on every continent throughout all of recorded history. Something is shared, something runs deep. Modern researchers tend to focus less on symbolic interpretation and more on the functional mechanics of dreaming. What it does, how it works, what happens when it's disrupted. But even within this framework, the mystery hasn't dissolved. The question of why we experience anything at all during sleep, why there is a story, why there is the feeling of being inside something, remains genuinely open. The brain generates the dream, but who watches it? Who is moved by it? That's a question for a quieter hour than this. For now, let it simply be beautiful that something in you, while the rest of you sleeps, is watching stars in a private sky, walking through forests made of memory, finding rooms that were always there. Let that be enough. You're resting now, truly resting. Even if you're still with me, your body knows what to do, and it's doing it. Let yourself be carried. Dreams are deeply personal, but they are also in some ways shaped by the world around the dreamer. Where you live, what you eat, what sounds fill your sleeping environment, what light reaches you. All of these influences touch the dreaming mind in gentle ways. People who live near the ocean dream about water more than people who live in landlocked places. People who live in mountain regions dream more often of height and vast open views. The brain uses what it has. It dreams the world it knows. And so, the landscape of your life becomes the landscape of your sleep, your memories, your places, your particular quality of light. Temperature influences dreams in interesting ways. Sleeping in a warm room tends to produce more vivid, sometimes more unsettling dreams. Cooler temperatures are associated with calmer, more peaceful dreaming. Your body's temperature naturally drops during sleep as part of the biological preparation for deep rest. And this cooling is itself part of what makes sleep feel so good. The slight chill of a cool room, the weight of a warm blanket, the perfect balance of warm inside and cool outside. This is one of sleep's small perfections. Sound enters dreams in ways both literal and transformed. A sound from the waking world, a distant siren, rain on a window, the sound of wind, can be incorporated into a dream as itself, or can be translated into something entirely different. A sound that begins as a car horn might become, inside a dream, the call of a bird, or a voice, or a bell ringing in a distant field. The dreaming mind is an improviser, working with whatever material arrives. There is a tradition in many cultures of playing music during sleep, lullabies that blur the boundary between waking and dreaming, that accompany a person into the night. The word lullaby itself has roots in the sounds made to soothe infants, sounds that suggest softness and repetition and the presence of someone nearby who is keeping watch. Music made for the moment of letting go. Some sleep researchers have experimented with playing sounds during REM sleep, soft tones, gentle music, even spoken phrases, and found that these can influence dream content. In one study, the scent of roses was introduced to sleeping subjects during REM, and their dreams were reported to be more pleasant. The scent of rotten eggs produced less pleasant dreams. The sleeping mind is not sealed away from the world. It is porous. It receives. This porousness has been used in experimental settings to explore a form of dream guidance called targeted memory reactivation. A particular sound or smell is associated with something learned during the day, a new skill, a piece of information, and then replayed softly during sleep. The sleeping brain responds to the cue by replaying the associated memory more strongly, consolidating it more deeply. It's like leaving a bookmark for the dreaming mind. Here, this one. Remember this. The amount of dreaming a person does varies with their circumstances. People who are pregnant dream more and more vividly. People who are quitting smoking or alcohol often experience a surge of intense, vivid dreams for the first few weeks as the brain's chemistry adjusts. People going through major life transitions, moving, grieving, falling in love, beginning something new, often notice changes in their dreaming as the mind works to absorb and integrate the new landscape of experience. Grief, in particular, often brings what bereaved people describe as some of the most significant dreams of their lives. Dreams in which those they have lost appear, sometimes young or well, or simply themselves, doing ordinary things. These visits, as many describe them, are often deeply comforting, whether they carry any information beyond what the dreamer's mind already holds. No one can say with certainty, but the comfort is real. The feeling of presence is real. The dreaming mind offers something here that nothing else quite does. Across cultures, dreams of the deceased are treated with particular care. In many traditions, such dreams are understood as genuine contact, the beloved finding a way across whatever distance separates them. In others, they are understood as the dreamer's own love finding its way to expression, the grief finding a form in which it can breathe. Both interpretations offer tenderness. Both allow the dream to be a gift. What a quiet, faithful thing the dreaming mind is. Night after night, year after year, in good times and difficult ones, through the whole arc of a life, it keeps on dreaming, keeps on offering images and feelings and landscapes and reunions and flights over quiet towns and impossible rooms full of warm light. It doesn't ask to be thanked. It just goes on working, the way the sea goes on moving, the way the stars go on being bright. Thank you for being here tonight. If this is your first time visiting the Sleepy Science channel, there's a whole playlist of other gentle stories ready for you. Oceans, forests, birds, stars. Whenever you need this place, it will be here. And now, we keep going. You're very nearly there, you know. That place where the words become less important than the feeling they carry. Keep breathing. Let the feeling be enough. There is a kind of dreaming that happens in the hours just before waking, in that long, light stretch of early morning when REM sleep is at its longest and most elaborate. These are often the dreams we remember. These are the ones that have had the whole night to develop, the ones that feel most like stories, the ones that sometimes stay with us for days. Morning dreams tend to be more complex, more narrative, more emotionally layered than the dreams of earlier night. They incorporate more recent events, more details from the previous day. They have a particular quality of almost waking, a thin membrane between the dream world and the morning, so that voices from outside might drift in, or light might change the color of the dream sky, or the smell of coffee might become, for a moment, part of the story. The transition from dreaming to waking is its own quiet phenomenon. In the hypnopompic state, the mirror image of the hypnagogic, the state of emerging from sleep, images and feelings from dreams can persist into waking consciousness. You open your eyes and the room is real, but the dream is still present, layered over it, like a transparency held up to the light. For a few moments, both worlds exist at once. This overlap is why mornings feel the way they do sometimes, tender, slightly uncertain, the day not yet fully loaded with its demands. The dreaming mind is still near. The day hasn't arrived completely. It's a beautiful in-between time, worth protecting with a little gentleness. A few minutes of quietness before the phone, before the news, before the full weight of the world. Sleep researchers sometimes refer to sleep architecture, the structure of a night's sleep, the way it is built from different stages in a particular rhythm. The architecture of a good night's sleep is something like a beautiful building, deep and solid at the foundation, with rooms that grow lighter as you move upward, until at the top, just below the sky, you are barely sleeping at all, floating in the long, light dreams of morning. The full sleep cycle, from light sleep down to deep sleep and back up through REM, takes roughly 90 minutes. A full night of 7 or 8 hours contains about 5 of these cycles, each one slightly different from the last. The early cycles are dominated by deep, restorative, slow-wave sleep. The later cycles contain more and more REM, more and more dreaming. By morning, almost all of your sleep is dream sleep. The night is arranged so that you wake from dreams. This is not accidental. Waking from REM sleep is associated with better mood and mental clarity than waking from deep sleep. Your body clock and the natural light of morning conspire together to bring you out of sleep at a point when the brain is already alert and active, dreaming, ready to return to the world. The alarm clock, when it interrupts this natural process, catches you wherever you happen to be in the cycle, sometimes in deep sleep, sometimes in a dream. The groggy, disoriented feeling of a too early waking is the feeling of being pulled from a stage of sleep you weren't finished with yet. The concept of sleep inertia, the fogginess that persists for some time after waking, is most intense when sleep is interrupted during slow-wave sleep. It's as if the brain had just settled into its deepest maintenance mode and suddenly has to reverse course. It takes some time to come back to the surface. The deeper the sleep interrupted, the longer the inertia. This is why waking gradually in response to light rather than a sudden alarm tends to produce a gentler, cleaner awakening. The body prefers to surface the way a diver does, slowly, through the brightening water. Light is one of the primary regulators of sleep and waking. The retinal ganglion cells of your eyes, a special type of cell that responds not to image, but to overall light level, send signals directly to the brain's circadian clock, a tiny cluster of neurons in the hypothalamus called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which keeps biological time. As morning light enters your eyes, even through closed lids, These cells signal the clock signals the brain. Melatonin, the hormone of darkness, begins to subside. Cortisol, gentle and waking, begins its quiet rise. The body prepares to return. This daily rhythm, the cycling of light and dark, sleep and waking, dreaming and doing, is one of the most fundamental patterns of biological life. Almost every living organism on Earth has some version of a circadian rhythm. Trees, in their way, have circadian rhythms. Flowers open and close on schedules. Tidal creatures keep time with the moon. The rhythm of day and night is written into life at its deepest level, and dreaming is part of that rhythm. One of the things that happens in the dark, like the opening of night-blooming flowers, and the movement of owls through quiet forests, and the slow growth of roots underground. You are part of that rhythm too. Your sleep is not separate from nature. It is nature. It is the tide going out, the flower closing, the owl lifting into the dark. Every night, when you close your eyes, you join that ancient living pattern. And when you dream, you become for a little while the most extraordinary thing, a world inside a world, a story inside a life, a universe made of one person's particular, unrepeatable experience of being alive. Let your hands rest. Let your jaw unclench if it was holding. Let your forehead smooth. The stories we're telling have their own weight now, and they can carry themselves the rest of the way. Dreams have always found their way into art, into painting and music and literature and film. And in turn, art has influenced how we understand dreams. The surrealists of the early 20th century made this explicit. They developed techniques specifically designed to access the imagery of the unconscious, the dream logic, the unexpected juxtapositions, the emotional truth of things that cannot be fully explained. André Breton, the founder of Surrealism, wrote of pure psychic automatism, the practice of writing, drawing, or painting without the conscious mind editing or directing, allowing whatever arose to come through without judgment. The resulting works, by Dalí, by Magritte, by de Chirico, have a quality that is instantly recognizable as dreamlike, not because they are strange exactly, but because they follow a different kind of sense. They feel emotionally true in ways that realistic depictions sometimes don't. They access something. Magritte's painting of a man in a bowler hat, his face obscured by a floating apple. De Chirico's empty piazzas under long afternoon light, with figures that cast impossible shadows. Dalí's dreamscapes of melting time and impossible architecture. These images work on the viewer the way dreams work. They bypass the logical mind and go straight to feeling. They are remembered long after the reason for their strangeness has been forgotten. In music, composers have described dream states as sources of entire works. Wagner said that the opening of Das Rheingold, the long, slow emergence of an E-flat major chord from the deep, came to him in a dream, or in a hypnagogic state between dreaming and waking. He felt himself sinking into flowing water, the sound rising around him, and woke with the whole opening of the opera fully formed. Berlioz wrote Symphonie Fantastique partly as a dream narrative, a programmatic work that follows a dreaming musician through increasingly surreal visions. The music moves from pastoral sweetness to ballroom elegance to wild galloping, to a tenderness that breaks your heart and then shifts again, dreamlike, without warning. Listening to it, you understand how the composer found the structure and the logic of dreams, not linear, but emotionally consistent, moving by feel rather than by reason. In literature, dreams have been used not as decoration, but as structure. The whole of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is framed as a dream, and everything in it follows dream logic. The changing sizes, the nonsensical rules, the characters who are recognizable but slightly wrong, the constant sense of importance without quite understanding why. Carroll captured the texture of dreaming with uncanny accuracy, perhaps because he was a mathematician who understood that rules can generate their own strange and internally consistent worlds. Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream takes place almost entirely in the enchanted space between sleeping and waking, reason and magic. Its characters fall in and out of love as if they're falling in and out of dreams, and the whole play ends with Puck's extraordinary address to the audience. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear. The play itself, Puck suggests, was a dream, and perhaps all plays are, and perhaps all stories, and perhaps this one. Jorge Luis Borges, the Argentine writer, was obsessed with dreams in a philosophical sense, with the idea that reality itself might be a kind of dreaming, that the boundary between the waking world and the dreamed one is less solid than it appears. His stories circle this idea repeatedly, from different angles. The dreamer who discovers they are being dreamed by someone else, the library that contains all possible books, the labyrinth that is the universe. Borges wrote from a place of genuine wonder about the nature of consciousness and reality, and dreams were at the center of that wonder. Film, with its dreamlike qualities, its discontinuous editing, its impossible perspectives, its ability to move through time and space without transition, has always had a special relationship with dreams. The French theorists of cinema in the mid-20th century spoke explicitly of film as a waking dream, a controlled, shared hallucination in a darkened room. And indeed, the brain responds to film somewhat similarly to how it responds to dreams. The visual centers activate, the emotional centers engage. The sense of being inside the experience can be quite strong. What all of these art forms are doing, in their different ways, is the same thing, trying to honor and make legible the interior life, trying to find forms adequate to the strangeness and richness of being conscious, of having experiences that can't be fully explained or contained. Dreams are the interior life at its most vivid and unguarded. Art is the attempt to bring something of that vividness out into the shared world. And you, dreamer, You have your own private art gallery, your own private concert hall and library and cinema. All of it running quietly in the dark every night, all your life. If you'd like to share a thought about tonight's story, the comments are right below. It's a lovely way to let us know you were here. And the playlist is always growing, always ready for any night you need it. We're in the long, quiet hour now. The words are slower. The spaces between them are bigger. That's right. That's exactly right. There are animals whose relationship with sleep and dreams is so remarkable that it feels almost like a kind of poetry. We've talked about dogs and birds, but let's go deeper into the animal kingdom, where sleep takes forms that are stranger and more wonderful than you might expect. Dolphins are among the most extraordinary sleepers in the natural world. They cannot simply close their eyes and fall unconscious the way humans do. They need to breathe, and they live in water, and those two facts require a particular solution. The solution the dolphin arrived at, over millions of years of evolution, is called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. They sleep one half of the brain at a time. One hemisphere drifts into slow-wave sleep, while the other remains active, alert enough to keep swimming, keep surfacing, keep breathing. Then they switch, literally half asleep. During this remarkable half-sleep, the eye connected to the awake half of the brain remains open, watching. The eye connected to the sleeping half closes. Imagine swimming through warm, blue-green water with one eye open and one eye closed. Half of your mind dreaming while the other keeps gentle watch. There is something in that image, the vigilance and the surrender happening simultaneously, that feels like wisdom. Sperm whales, the deep-diving giants of the ocean, have been observed sleeping in a way that is among the most unusual in the animal kingdom. They float vertically, motionless, near the surface, head slightly upright, body hanging down into the dark water, perfectly still. Groups of them drift together in this vertical stillness, like enormous living buoys. They sleep for only brief periods, as little as 7% of the day, but the quality of their sleep appears to include REM. What a sperm whale dreams in those few suspended minutes, hanging in the blue silence of the ocean, is a question that fills me with very peaceful wonder. Migratory birds perform one of the most astonishing feats of sleeplessness in the animal world. Some species, like the alpine swift, can remain airborne continuously for months, sleeping in brief snatches of unihemispheric sleep while still flying, their wings moving on automatic while part of their brain rests. The bar-tailed godwit, a shorebird, flies from Alaska to New Zealand without stopping. 11 days of continuous flight. Before this journey, they sleep extensively. During it, they take micro-sleep breaks, seconds at a time, enough to keep the brain functioning across thousands of miles of open ocean. Sleep in these animals shapes itself around the necessities of each life. The ocean's requirements, the sky's requirements, the demands of migration or constant movement, sleep accommodates all of them, finds a way. Sleep is flexible because it matters. It makes what adjustments are needed to be available. That same intelligence, that same essential necessity is at work in your body every night. Sleep makes room for your life. It fits itself around everything you need to be. Bears, in their long winter sleep, enter a state that is not quite the same as sleep and not quite the same as hibernation, but something in between, a deep, sustained resting that lasts for months. Their body temperature drops only slightly. Their heart rate slows dramatically. They don't eat or drink. They don't urinate or defecate. They live on stored fat, breathing slowly in the dark. Pregnant bears give birth to their cubs during this great rest, small, warm creatures arriving into the quiet of the den, born into the first long sleep. What a way to begin a life. Sea otters sleep floating on their backs on the surface of the water, sometimes holding hands with other otters so they don't drift apart. These otter rafts are one of the most endearing images in the natural world. A group of small, round creatures floating together on the sea, holding hands, sleeping. They wrap themselves in kelp if it's available, anchoring themselves to the underwater forest so the current won't carry them away. Their faces are peaceful. The water rocks them. Even fish sleep, though it doesn't look much like sleeping as we know it. Many fish hover in a kind of suspended stillness, not motionless, but barely moving, their activity reduced, their responsiveness to the world slowed. Parrotfish, which live on coral reefs in tropical waters, secrete a mucus cocoon around themselves at night, a transparent sleeping bag made of their own making, which some researchers believe may protect them from parasites or predators. They seal themselves inside it and drift through the night, wrapped in something they made themselves, in the warm dark of the reef. The octopus, with its extraordinary nervous system, most of its neurons located not in its central brain, but distributed through its 8 arms, has been observed in states that appear to involve REM-like activity. During these states, octopuses have been filmed rapidly changing color across their skin, flickering patterns moving like light on water, like signals, like something being watched or expressed. Color change is how octopuses communicate and camouflage themselves when awake. What does it mean when they do it while apparently unconscious? Are they dreaming? Are they replaying what they saw? Are they doing something else entirely, something we have no word for yet? The natural world is sleeping right now in all its forms, in coral reefs and in high mountain forests, in underground burrows and in open fields under a sky full of stars. Everything that lives takes rest in its own way. Everything that breathes has its own version of this turning inward, this going deep, this return to something essential. You are part of that great quiet breathing. You always were. Almost there. The words are very soft now. Just a little further, and then you can let everything go. One of the most comforting things modern sleep science has confirmed is something humans have instinctively known for a long time. That regular good sleep is one of the most powerful things you can offer your body and mind. Not a luxury, not laziness, a necessity as fundamental as food and water and light. Sleep is the time when your brain cleans itself, when your memories are sorted and kept, when your emotions find their level, when your body repairs, and dreams are woven through all of it. Not decoration, but part of the process, part of what makes sleep sleep. There is growing evidence that the quality of a night's sleep influences not just the next day, but the accumulation of many next days. The way you think, the way you feel, your immune function, your cardiovascular health, your emotional resilience, your creativity, your ability to connect with other people. Sleep matters in the long run as well as the immediate one. And dreaming as part of sleep matters too. What this means in a soft and practical sense is that choosing to sleep, protecting your sleep, valuing it, making room for it in a life that often treats rest as an afterthought, is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself. Not merely restful, but genuinely necessary, not time lost, but time deeply well spent. And it's happening right now. Whatever state of sleep you're drifting toward, the fact that you chose to spend this evening here in this quiet space, attending to something gentle, that is already part of the care. You have been kind to yourself tonight. The science of dreams, despite all the centuries of wondering and the decades of laboratory research, remains genuinely and beautifully incomplete. We know the mechanics more clearly than ever before, the brain regions, the neurotransmitters, the wave patterns, the stages and cycles. We have strong evidence for what dreaming does, even if we don't fully understand why experience arises at all. But the heart of it, the question of what it means for there to be something it is like to dream, the question of why the dreaming mind tells stories at all, and why those stories feel so real, and why they move us, that remains open. It is, I think, one of the most beautiful open questions in all of science, not because the mystery is troubling, but because it is generous. It means there is still room for wonder, still room for the experience of dreaming to exceed explanation, to be more than a mechanism, to be its own kind of thing. Philosophers have asked for millennia. How do we know we are not dreaming right now? The question is older than any scientific framework. Zhuangzi, the ancient Chinese philosopher, asked it most beautifully. He dreamed he was a butterfly, and when he woke, he genuinely wondered, was he a man who had dreamed of being a butterfly, or a butterfly now dreaming of being a man? The question wasn't meant to unsettle, but to open, to soften the boundary between states of being, to suggest that what we call waking and what we call dreaming are not as opposite as they seem. There are moments in waking life that have a dream quality, walking through fog early in the morning when the world is muffled and gray and soft, arriving in a city for the first time, not yet knowing the rules of its geography, everything unfamiliar and luminous. The hours just after receiving very good news, when everything has a peculiar brightness and nothing seems quite solid. The long golden afternoon of deep summer, when time moves differently and the light seems more considered. These moments have the texture of dreams, vivid, slightly unreal, emotionally significant in ways that exceed their content. And there are moments in dreams that have a quality of absolute reality, more real in some ways than waking. The presence of someone you love, a particular quality of light, the feeling of a place so precisely rendered that you could describe every detail. Dreams can offer experiences that are not less than waking, but differently than waking, without the constraints, without the worries, with something that feels more purely felt. The boundary between the two is porous in more than one direction. Dreams enter waking life in memories and images and creative impulses. Waking life enters dreams in symbols and stories and concerns. We move between these two worlds every day and every night, and the movement is so smooth, so ordinary, so constant that we rarely think of it as movement at all. But it is. It is one of the most fundamental rhythms of being alive. And here you are, on the threshold again, right at the edge of it. The warm side and the dark side, the open eye and the closed one, the story and the deep silence beneath all stories. You've been moving toward this all evening. You're almost there. This is the last passage. Let it be gentle. Let it ask nothing of you except to breathe and to be where you are, which is safe and warm and entirely your own. You've traveled far tonight through the science of sleep and the poetry of dreaming, through ancient temples and modern laboratories, through the sleeping animals of ocean and mountain and sky. You've moved through the images that have stayed with the human family across all its long dreaming history, water and mountains, forests and stars, the house with hidden rooms, the freedom of flight. And underneath all of it, through every fact and every quiet observation, was the same soft and reassuring truth that your dreaming mind is working for you, that the stories it tells in the dark are part of how it cares for you, that every night when you sleep and dream, something intelligent and gentle is doing the work of making you whole, keeping you clear, holding the memories you'll need and releasing the ones you won't, practicing the songs that will sing you through the morning. The night is very still now. Wherever you are, the world is slower. The sounds that reach you, if any do, are small and distant. The breathing of a house, the faint presence of trees or water or traffic somewhere beyond the walls. You are inside. You are warm. The heaviness in your limbs is the weight of permission. You don't have to do anything else tonight. Close your eyes if they aren't already closed. Or let them be half open, unfocused, the way eyes go when the mind begins to release. There is no right way to do this. Your body knows how. It's been doing this every night of your life, long before you had any words for it. Your breath is slowing. The spaces between thoughts are growing larger, softer, the way spaces between trees open out when you walk deeper into a forest. At a certain point, you can't quite see where you entered anymore. The light is different in here. The sounds are different. Something is about to shift. The dreams that will come tonight are already waiting. They are made of your life, the good things and the quiet things, and the things you're still working through. They are made of every forest you've ever stood in, every body of water you've seen, every face you've loved, every moment of unexpected beauty. They are made of the light on a wall on some particular afternoon, and the smell of rain on warm pavement, and the sound of someone laughing in another room. They are entirely yours. Let them come. You don't have to do anything to receive them. You only have to stop preventing them. And you're already doing that. You're already letting go of the day. You're already releasing the list of things and the waiting thoughts and the small unfinished worries. They'll be there tomorrow in a gentler form. The night will have done something with them by then. Somewhere right now, a small bird is tucked under its wing on a branch, singing silently in sleep. Somewhere, a family of otters is floating on a dark sea, holding hands. Somewhere, under the ocean floor, creatures are resting in their still and ancient ways. Somewhere, mountains are being very slowly worn away by wind and water, growing infinitesimally smoother in the dark. The whole world is breathing in its particular rhythms. And you are part of it, not separate from it, not watching it from outside, but in it, breathing with it, following the oldest rhythm there is. You are allowed to rest. You are more than allowed. You are invited by your body, by the night, by everything in nature that knows how to let go of the day and trust the dark. The dark is good. The dark is where the deep work happens, where the cleaning and the storing and the dreaming take place, where the stories come, where the painter works quietly in the private studio of your sleeping mind. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for bringing your tiredness and your questions and your willingness to slow down and listen to something gentle. It means a great deal. If you haven't already, please do leave a like on this video. And if you'd like to share where you're listening from in the comments, there's a little community of sleepy souls who'd love to know. The playlist is there whenever another night like this one calls to you. But for now, there is nothing more to know tonight. There is only the warmth, the slow breath, the permission. Close your eyes. The painter is waiting. The dreaming has already begun. Good night, the Sleepy Science Channel. Slow stories for quiet nights.